So in my last YouTube video, we went ahead and used AI to actually create this entire app user flow that you see here. And then we used UX Pilot to first come up with a UX design, and then we finally transformed it into a UI design that you see here on my screen. So in this video, we're going to go ahead and translate this design into a React Native app, and we're going to be using Cursor in order to do so. Okay, so as you see here on my screen, I have Cursor pulled up, and I also have this iPhone 16 simulator working through Xcode. So before we begin, I actually need to go ahead and create a folder. So I'm going to come here in my projects folder. I'm going to create a new folder and I'm going to call it RN expense app. All right, and I'm just going to say V1. All right, so I'm going to come here and open project. I'm going to navigate to that folder. All right, RN meaning React Native. I'm going to go ahead and open it up. All right, perfect. So we see here, we have no files in here, which is perfect. That's exactly what we want. Now, I went ahead and created some markdown files for setup, and one of them is the React Native setup. Here in step one, we see here, this is the app setup. So I'm actually gonna go ahead and just copy all this. Basically, this is gonna go ahead and deploy the base of the application so that we can actually start building it out. So I'm just gonna go ahead and just copy all this whole setup here with some configuration settings and everything. And I'm gonna go ahead and prompt the AI. Okay, so I said, please create a fresh React Native install with Xpel Go in the root folder of, and I tagged the root folder here. Please install according to this plan, and then I outline the entire plan right here for Claude 4. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and send that, and Claude's going to go ahead and read through the plan, and it's going to go ahead and set up the project for us. All right, perfect. So went ahead and set up the whole application for us. So by me hitting this, I'm going to hit run. I'm going to hit click to focus. And so what's going to happen here is that it's going to go ahead and populate this QR code. So here on my simulator, on your real device, you want to go ahead and install this Expo Go app. And then when you open the app, it's going to have an area where you can actually click on it and then scan this QR code here. But because I'm running a simulator on my device, I'm just going to go ahead and hit I here. And that's going to go ahead and bring up the app right here. All right, so as you see here, it's going to load and it says hello world. All right, so we see here that the app finally loaded. So I'm just going to go ahead and accept all the changes. Okay, so we see here hello world. So if we go ahead and open up this app folder here, you're actually going to see here index that this is actually where it lives. So you see here where it says hello world, this is this text here. So if I change this to, let's say hello there, and I hit save, as you see here, it changed right there. Okay, so now that the app is set up, how exactly do we actually go about getting our design copied on over here? So one of the first things I actually prefer to do is I like to go ahead and just lay out all the pages that I need. So if you come back here, right, what you're going to see is that we have a splash loading page, a welcome page, a login page. Then you have the home page of the app, right? And then this here where you add the expenses. And then this here is what it's going to look like when it's populated. And then this here is just a breakdown when you get into the actual categories. And then this is kind of like an independent category view. So one thing different from the last video, I actually did include this login here because what I am going to do is that when I'm done with this, I'm actually going to make this available. So if you actually want to download it and edit it yourself or build it out further, you can. So if you do want to add authentication to it, you can with this here. Okay, so at a high level, the way that React Native kind of works is that a lot of things are kind of done by components, meaning that if we look at our design, we want to look to see what are we using over and over again. So for our React app, we know that we're going to use the same type of footer again. We're going to have a main type of button style, right? These are going to be reusable little blocks with different little icons in them. These numbers are going to be dynamically loaded depending on what the user adds in. Now for this example, we're not going to connect it to a database, but in a real life example, right, these little components would be dynamically loaded depending on what's in the database. The first thing I'm actually going to do is I'm actually going to go ahead and just separate. So this here is going to be our mini onboarding, right? This here is really going to be our main screens, right? So because remember, in an empty state, this is what it looks like. When it's populated, it's going to look more like this here, right? So it's going to be this home page, and then when you add an expense, you're going to be able to have this here to add the expense, which will then kind of go into a category. Let's go ahead and just build right now our welcome page, our authentication page, our home page, and this add expense page. So now that our project is set up, I'm actually going to go ahead and I'm going to start with a new agent. So something I've learned in Cursor, I actually watched a video on this, is you don't want to do everything in just kind of one chat. Every single time you build a new feature or you're going to do something new, it's best to just go ahead and start a new chat because you're going to fill up the context window very quickly if you're only using one. I want to go ahead and dictate to this chat to go ahead and just kind of create me the whole kind of routing in the layout and everything. Okay, so here's what I'm telling Cursor. So it says, let's create some pages in routing. For each page, the background color will be this color code here that I basically got from UX Pilot. In black text, include the name of the page on each page so I know where I am in the app flow. Each page should have a little back arrow at the top so I can navigate back to the previous page. So basically, I want to be able to click a button, hit next, continue, go to the next page, and then I want to be able to navigate backwards if I want to. So I said, let's start. So I'm including a welcome page. Basically, this will be the welcome page. This can be the authentication page. This will be the home page, and this will be the add expense page. So if I come back here, you see I have the welcome page, the authentication page, the home page, and the add expense page. All right, so with that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and send that up, and AI is gonna go ahead and create the pages and the routing for us. Okay, so the AI just finished up creating all those pages and the routing for us. So let's see what we have. So we have here our welcome screen. So it says welcome to expense tracker, and it just kind of did that by default, totally fine. So I'm gonna hit get started. Now we have the authentication page. So I'm gonna hit login. We have the home page. Then if I hit this little button here, right, we can add in little details here. All right, so I'm just gonna hit back. All right, perfect. So it went ahead and installed the whole routing for us. So a couple quick notes when working in Cursor, right? It's not perfect. So if you come here to the terminal, I actually had to have it fix something. So as you see down here, it actually had an error in the app when setting it up. So basically all I had to do here for this error, whenever you get this, is you just want to come here to the terminal. You can just highlight the whole thing. And on my Mac, I'm just hitting Command L. On Windows, it might be Control L or something similar. Once you hit that, it sends it over here where you can actually send it to the AI. The AI can take a look. There's little things like that that may happen. I've heard some pretty good things about ChatGPT 5 kind of having less errors and issues like that. But I still have yet to try it. Okay, so now that our app is created right here, right, we want to go ahead and start the process of translating these designs over into the app. So just a quick note, React Native has this thing called components. And so when you take a look at the design, one thing you're going to notice is that we're actually going to be using a lot of the same things over and over again. So if you see here, right, I have this header with this white background and black text. And as you see here, that appears throughout the app. You'll also see, and if you use a lot of mobile apps, you'll also see that we have a very consistent footer, right? So whenever we change page, we don't have a different footer on the different main pages, right? So not like a page where we're adding an expense, but really when we're navigating on the home page or going to a settings page or something like that, we want to keep a consistent footer, right? So these are going to be reusable components, right? They're just going to change state depending on page that they're living on. What we actually want to do is that we actually want to start kind of picking this page apart, and we actually want to start kind of designing it step by step. So first, we're going to go ahead and just style this header. We want to bring in this button. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to just kind of highlight this whole design here. I'm going to bring it into Cursor, and I'm going to give it a very detailed prompt. So I said, I want to implement the design in the image, but first let's start with the reusable components. I have here the header component, and I just kind of described the header component. Same thing with the button component that you see here. One other thing that I did was that I went ahead and actually copied this whole entire Tailwind config. As you see here, it has all these colors. So it has brand slash background, brand dash surface. And basically all it's doing is that throughout the code, it's referencing brand surface, brand primary, brand BG. And when it references this, it's basically referencing this color code. That way you only have to edit the color code in one area. So all I did, if you come here to ChatGPT, I went ahead and I pasted that config here. I said, code this into a single HTML CSS block with the color in the background so I could see the color of each element. I came here to this website called html.onlineviewer.net. I pasted it here. And as you see here, it gives me all the colors listed out. So I have all of the colors that I need. So coming back here into Cursor, now that I have this done here, I'm going to go ahead and send it up. Okay, so not bad, right? It got the text here. Right, this text is kind of hard to see, so we'll change that. It got the little icon here as best as it could. It didn't really get the outline, but that's okay. All right, it has checkboxes here. But as you see, we have to kind of scroll to get to this get started button, right? Not the best user experience, right? We really want this button to be above the fold at all time. So I'm going to go ahead and give it a prompt. All right, so it took a few prompts here, right? So as you see, if I scroll back up, so I put here the get started button is syncing below the fold, making it so the user has to scroll. It should be above the fold always. So basically what the fold mean is that what's inside for the user, right, when they land on the page. So as you see here, everything here is above the fold. If I scroll down and a new element appears, well, that was below the fold. Right, so we want to make sure that all the elements are within view. The second thing I had to do, I said, can we bring the button up a little bit more and also make it a little bit bigger like the image? And it did a pretty good job of getting me what I wanted. Not 100% perfect. As you see here, we actually had this little outline piece here. And so I can actually create that if I want to. But for the sake of this example, we're just going to keep moving forward. We can always tidy it up later. Okay, so now that we're done with this welcome page for now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and start a new chat. All right, get a new context window. And we are going to go ahead and get started on the auth page. I'm going to go ahead and just screenshot these elements here. I'm not going to worry about these icons down here because in order to really get them looking good, I have to kind of go and fetch them. And so I'm just going to go ahead and just copy this here. I'm going to come into cursor. I'm going to drag it into the text window. Okay, so the AI went ahead and made all the changes. So I'm just going to go ahead and hit Command Enter to save all the changes. If I hit Get Started. All right, so we see here that the AI went ahead and just gave us this really simple login screen here. A really good way when you want to reference very specific elements as you're doing this. So on the auth page, if I just scroll down, what you want to do is you want to see if you could find that button. Right, so see here where it says login with SSO. So I'm going to go ahead and just highlight that and use Command L on my Mac. And I'm going to write in, so I said instead of login with SSO, make this button say sign up. And as you see, I made a little typo here, moving too fast. All right, so it's going to go ahead and code it for us. And just like I said here, it looks like it's breaking. All right, but the AI is still coding. All right, so you want to let the AI go ahead and finish. Unless it's doing something really crazy, then you can always stop it by just hitting this button right here. All right, so I accepted the changes, hit get started, and as you see, it's a sign up button. All right, if I just hit login now, right, we see here it doesn't really stop. Now, if I go and put in something here, I probably want to make this button so that it actually changes colors. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm actually going to make it change to our primary button color. So if I come here to the HTML, I'm going to go ahead and just copy this here. I'm going to come back into cursor and I'm going to find this login button. I'm going to hit Command L to send it in here. All right, so if I come in here and I just write in a couple of things here, bam, we actually see here that it says login. Now, obviously, we want to have a much better looking login screen. And from the design here, right, we probably want to let the user know they're in a login page. So we could probably do more to kind of touch up this page design here. Okay, so now we are at the home page. So as you see here on the home page, now, we're actually going to bring back that same header, component. All right, so I'm just going to come back into cursor and I'm going to start a new chat. And I'm going to go ahead and tag now the home page. Okay, so when it comes to reusing components, one easy way to do it is that you can actually just come here to the components drop down. And you actually see here that we have the header, right? So we have the header, the button, right? Back button. So it has all these components here. So I can say for the home page, so I said for the home page, please bring in the header component and give the name of home page. So it's going to go ahead and bring in that component. So the cool thing with components is that in the beginning, yeah, it might be a little tedious to set it up, but once you actually have it done, it actually makes your life a lot easier because you can actually just go to different pages and continue to just reuse them. All right, awesome. So look at that. It actually cleaned up this home page here. So instead of that text just being over here, it actually gave us a pretty nice header here, right? So obviously we saw that the home page was a little bigger, right? The text was bigger here. So again, we can edit that, but for now it's fine. Now let's go ahead and let's actually create this footer navigation component. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and just screenshot this here. I'm going to come into cursor and I'm going to go ahead and give it a prompt. Okay, so here in the prompt, I said on the home page, let's create a reusable footer component. So I said create a footer nav like you see in the image. So again, here's the thing, right? So when we're translating design from UX Pilot over here, right, it's gonna look a little bit different because the AI is just kind of interpreting it the best it can. And if we really want to match the style, then most definitely, right, we can always just kind of come here and prompt it, or what we can actually do if I really wanted to, let's say, to match the footer style, is I could come here into the code and I can come and I can actually find where this navigation component is. So as you see here, this is the bottom navigation. So if I wanted to, I can actually copy, right, this whole thing here, and I could paste it into ChatGPT, and I could also give it the config here, the color configuration, and it can actually render like an HTML and CSS version. And then from there, as long as you like it, we can actually translate it into code, into React Native code, so that we can drop it right into here. I'm perfectly happy with this for now. All right, so so far we have our welcome screen, right? When we hit get started, we can put in this information. We can hit login, right? We have our expenses screen. When I click on here, we can add a new expense. So let's go ahead and work on setting up this add expense screen. Okay, so I'm gonna come here to UX Pilot, and I've been screenshotting it the whole time, not sure why. Much better to export, right? If you're going to touch it as an image, much better to export it like this because you're going to be able to get the whole design, right? It's a lot more high res. So the AI will be able to actually pick up on all the little details of it a lot better. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and export that. And I'm going to come back over to cursor and I'm gonna go ahead and open up a new chat so we can have a new context window. So when I click on here, right, this is the ad expense page. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna tag this page. Okay, so I put on the ad expense page, please make it look like the image, use the, and I tag the header, right? And I tag the button for the save button, right? So as you see here, it's already saving us time because we can reuse existing elements, and this helps to keep our whole app uniform. So I'm going to go ahead and send that, and the AI is going to go ahead and set up this page for us. All right, so let's see what the AI came back with. So here on the home page, if I go ahead and just click this here, you can see that it added the whole page. Now the header is quite big here, so I'm actually just going to go ahead and screenshot this and just let the AI know. If I said the header has too much margin at the top, please fix, use the header component. So it's going to go ahead and fix this. All right, awesome. Just like that, the AI went ahead and actually fixed that for us. So I'm actually recording this part of video on a different day because it actually took some time to actually get the design looking right. So as you see here on my screen, I went ahead and touched up the whole design a bit. And actually, before I actually get into it, if I just come here and I hit reload, what you're going to see is that we actually now have this splash screen with this loading animation. So this here that you see, that little box square icon, is the Expo Go development environment. In reality, in a production sense, it would start right here, this loading screen here where it loads. Now from here, it goes into this get started screen. I improved the header a bit here. I worked on some overall spacing here on the screen. For the login / sign up page, I actually went ahead and put in a sign up page. So user comes in here and just kind of enters in some information, they can create an account, as well as here, if you just put in some details here, it actually has a login button. Now, as you see from here, I went ahead and just implemented a design, again, improved the header here. And when I hit add expense, we actually have some form validation. So I can come in here and I could say, this is rent. It's 2000. It's due on the 1st. Now, another thing, I also have validation here. So you can't put let's say 55, right? If you could put 22, 23, but if I want to put 45 or something, I cannot, right? Because there's actually input validation. The number cannot be greater than 31. Same thing with the amount, right? I can't put letters in here, it only has to be numbers. All right, and if we scroll down here, everything else is the same. I did change the color overall to just match more of the brand styling of the app. And actually from the start of video, if there was something I could do a little bit different, is that I would actually start building the components right away. Before I actually go into the whole design, what I would have done is that I would have actually gone ahead and created the header separately, created the buttons, created the footer, create all the components that you're going to need, all of the shared resources, and then from there start structuring your pages. So that way on a page by page basis, you can go ahead and just kind of worry about the contents of the page. And then you can bring the headers and the footers, right, and all the elements that can be shared across the design. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Just to give you a little more insight about how you can actually start kind of translating some design specs into an actual app here in React Native using Cursor and AI. What I actually want to do is that I actually want to give this to you guys. So if you're actually interested in taking this app and building it out further or just learning with it, and yeah, you can build it out to whatever it is that you want to build it out to. So anyway, link in the description below. With that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video and do stay tuned for more AI content. I'll see you in the next one.